It's February and Arsenal are still in with a chance of the quadruple. Can Mikel Arteta's side make the first step and reach the Carabao Cup final tonight? What a game in store tonight. Arsenal looking to reach a first final in 6 years when they host Chelsea in the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-finals. They lead 3-2 but could have been in a much more comfortable position after letting Alejandro Garnacho score a late goal to keep their London rivals in the tie. Ahead of the game, Mikel Arteta has hit back at Paul Scholes, who said Arsenal would be the most boring team to win the league if they do go on to become champions. Well, Arteta disagrees.
I heard completely the opposite. All around Europe, that we are the most exciting team in Europe, the most goals, the most clean sheets, the most this. So maybe I have a different resources.
Why do you think this is? Why do you think people are saying this?
I have no idea. I don't know which people. You tell me the names and the surname and the address and the email. Maybe we can talk. But we are talking because I can give you a massive book of all the people. So.
Mr. Paul Scholes of Manchester.
Sorry?
Mr. Paul Scholes of Manchester.
Okay, good.
Lovely.
OK, Leanne's here until midday. Arsenal, exciting or boring?
I mean, obviously, back in the day, it's boring Arsenal, isn't it? It's a chant they sing, but I don't think it's boring. I mean, it's almost like damned if they do, damned if they don't, Tom, because it's like, you know, beginning up until a couple of months ago, they were absolutely flying, right? And then not greatest results. The Liverpool game at home, quite boring. The Forest game, quite boring. But the game at the weekend against Leeds, what a performance that was. People are looking for that bounce back ability from Arsenal, would they have it in them? Going to Ellen Road and winning in the way that they did, it was a complete annihilation. It's a difficult place to go. And I think Arsenal are doing bits. Now, the Premier League hasn't been great this year, Tom. Let's be honest, right? The teams, the performances, but that's not Arsenal's fault. Similar to when Liverpool won it during COVID and everyone's saying, oh, it doesn't mean as much because it's during COVID. Winning the Premier League is iconic. And if Arsenal, they've given... The fact that City let Tottenham come back into that game at the weekend and it's now gone back to 6 points, like, there's no many more slip-ups for Arsenal. It can't keep happening. There's still a long way to go, but, like, you know, it's almost like City are gifting them the Premier League. And I like Mikel Arteta. I think he has to deliver this season, though, a trophy. I'm not talking coming second and almost nearly, you know, going on the pitch saying, oh, it's next year's our year, doing all documentaries and stuff. They have to get it done.
Well, can they get it done tonight? Because they won the FA Cup 6 years ago.
When he first got there?
Yeah, when he first got there. They've been in 4 semi-finals since then, and they've never made it through to a final since then. So is tonight a big mental hurdle to get over and get to the final?
It should have been signed, sealed, delivered already, though, Tom. The fact they let Chelsea come back into the game, that game should have been 4-0 to Arsenal. They were all over Chelsea in that game. But I expect Arsenal to win this one. Not as comfortable as they'd have liked going into it, obviously, with it being 3-2. But I think, you know, Arsenal are a top side. Yes, people can say set piece FC, who cares? Those fine margins, those small percentages. Everyone was laughing when they got a set piece coach. How many teams in the league now have a set piece coach, Tom? I was one of them. I'm like, set piece coach? There's now a bus for staff members at all the Premier League clubs. You know, there's a bus for the players and there's a bus for all the staff. But you've got to do what you've got to do to win, and those small little details, small percentages in football, professional sports, it makes a difference.
The fact is, it's working. Well, Sky Sports are partnered with Finalysis to discover true fan opinion. To have your say on your club, download the Finalysis app now. Scan the QR code here for more details. Let's speak to Arsenal fan Tia Thorne and Chelsea fan Charlie Patrick. Good morning to both of you. Tia, we will start with you. Arteta saying that Arsenal are the most exciting team rather than the most boring team. Do you agree?
Good morning. Leanne, I think you summed it up perfectly. I wouldn't probably say that we're not boring. I think this tag of being boring is just a bit ridiculous now. I think what Arteta is also looking at is, particularly in the Champions League, I think we've been probably the best team, if not the most exciting team as well. In the league, obviously, maybe some games the handbrake has been put on, but I wouldn't sit and say we're boring. I think that sort of tag's a bit ridiculous, but I wouldn't say the most boring, no.
Can I just jump in quickly with Tia? I go to a lot of the games at the Emirates and I love going there and I'm a United fan, but like, there's a sense of energy around the Emirates, isn't there, Tia, where like the groaning, I don't think it's the boos, it's like every time a player mistimes a pass, you can feel it, can't you? And I think that's something that fans have to be mindful of, because they are going to have that nervous energy, aren't they? But they need to kind of help them get it over the line.
I 100% agree with you, and I think that's why as well, like with tonight's game actually being at the Emirates, I don't I'm not a fan of, especially given it's only a 1-goal deficit when it should be more, as you mentioned. It's like, I understand that, you know, I think it was maybe the Man United game a couple of weeks ago that some of the moaning... nice. I had to throw it in for you. But I do think, like, some of the moaning and groaning I think is a bit ridiculous. You know, like, Arsenal are a team that, when we're playing, we are, you know, we're passing around the back, going sideways a little bit. We have, like, some fans don't understand. You need to be patient with that, because you need to wait for that moment of magic, which comes because teams don't expect it and you get a goal. And I think a lot of the crowds, especially at the Emirates, there's a sense of nervousness because we're in such a great position to win it, and we probably do need to win it this year because it's been too many of nearly moments. It needs to be a now moment. We need to get it over the line. But I do think that a lot of the crowd, they need to, you know, I think it was the 22-23 season, you know, we conceded a goal. The crowd was straight on the players' backs going, come on then, let's get the goal. It seems to be moaning and groaning and not very happy when we're passing backwards. And it's like, that's how, you know, some teams come to Arsenal and they do set up that, you know, stereotypical deep block. We have to be patient to get through. And I think most of the crowd need to just relax because the coach knows what he's doing. And I do think the players know what they're doing.
Charlie, can you turn this tie around tonight?
Yeah, we've definitely got the potential to do it. You know, we should be done. We should be finished. That first leg, I don't know how we only managed to leave there with a 1-goal deficit. So, you know, there's always a chance. And we've shown in previous games, West Ham, Napoli, that we can produce results coming from behind. Admittedly, Arsenal are probably better than both of those sides, but there is that, you know, that fight, that desire, you know, that drive from the players that we can get back into games from a deficit. I think the most important thing is that we've got to score the first goal. If we don't score the first goal, I think it's probably finished for us. You know, going to need 2 just to get to extra time is going to be a problem. So we need to play on the front foot, but we also need to be mindful not to be too gung-ho from the off, because I said if one goes in, then we are in trouble. But there's also the possibility of extra time and penalties as well. So I mean, look, I would take getting to that as a chance to go through. But yeah, you've got to believe there's definitely some hope for sure.
I know what's more important to the board, but what's more important to the fans? Finishing in the top 4 or winning this cup?
Well, I mean, for me, Chelsea have got to be in the Champions League, but as a fan, it's that you don't celebrate finishing in the top 4. You celebrate the days out of Wembley and winning the trophy. So I'd personally rather have the trophy from my perspective, but from a club perspective, the Champions League and the money it brings and being in that competition is way more important than the League Cup.
Yeah, Tia, in terms of these semi-finals, we've just been talking about you've been in 4 semi-finals since you won the FA Cup and haven't been able to get over the hurdle of getting into the final. Is that a mentality issue? Is it just bad luck?
I think it's probably more leans towards, you know, sort of having this sort of mental block maybe. It's a weird one. I don't know why, you know, we went to Newcastle last year in the semi-final of this competition and we didn't score a single goal. Played Villarreal in the Champions League, in the Europa League, semi-finals, didn't score a goal. Obviously against PSG we got one back. But I think I'm hoping there's a little bit of positivity because we've managed to score 3 goals in the first leg of a semi-final. So I'm hoping that hopefully means we get to the final. But I think us getting through tonight again would be a huge mentality switch as well. I think that will also massively help us push on to win the league. So I'm hoping that, you know, I'm hoping it is a little bit of bad luck, not a mental thing, because I think we need to get past that now. I think this squad's good enough to go and win.
Why do you think Jeremy Jacquet chose Liverpool over Chelsea, especially what he'd been saying in the build-up?
Yeah, do you know, I think there's a number of reasons. I think there's probably 3 reasons for me. I think one, unfortunately for us, Liverpool right now are in a better place to win and challenge for the major trophies over the next few years. And also, secondly, I think there's less competition at Liverpool for centre-half, particularly, you know, when Chelsea have got 3 centre-backs all of the same age. The Jacquet got Ansel Mino, Mamadou Sarr and Josh Ashimpong. I think that's one reason there as well. And, you know, he's going to be playing more regular first-team football at Liverpool. So I think those are the 3 main reasons for me why I think he's probably opted to go to Liverpool instead.
Tia, what would give you any worries about tonight? What is it where Chelsea can hurt you?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing being that it's a 1-goal sort of in it. When Leanne mentioned earlier, it should have been 3-4-0 Arsenal. I thought we were brilliant that day, and it's just a shame that we conceded the 2 goals. I think the main thing again is, we've seen in the last week that Chelsea have been sort of down a goal or down 2 goals, and they've come back into it. And I think the main thing, we just need to just not panic. I think both teams will go pretty strong, which I think they need to. Obviously, we've got no Saka, definitely got no Marino, which I think is a humongous blow. But I think because we've seen in the last week Chelsea be able to do comebacks, I think, as a fan, it sort of looks and goes, we need to be careful. We need to make sure, we start off on the front foot. If we get that early goal, as been mentioned, if we get that first early goal, I think it will be quite hard for Chelsea to come back into it. And I think once we maybe get the first goal, we will get the second. It was sort of similar to Leeds. The minute we got that first goal, you knew the goals were going to keep coming that day. So fingers crossed we get that first goal and we get it over the line.
Tia, when do you think the nervousness will go away? Do you think it will go all the way till the end of the season? Because obviously this League Cup competition will be, if they get to the final and win it, that'll be the first trophy that's up for grabs, right? Yeah. But I honestly believe if Arsenal could win the league this year, Tom mentioned they're still in for the quadruple, I think it could go on to be almost like not a Man City situation, but once you get it done, I feel like then it kind of breeds confidence.
Yeah, I massively agree. I think the minute we win, even like a trophy like the Carabao Cup, I think, especially if it's City that we meet in the final, we beat Man City in the final. If we get there, I think that as a whole is humongous towards the title race. If we go into that final and we lose to Man City, will heads drop, will fans get a bit nervous because, they've beaten us in the final is a bit of a situation I don't fully want to think about. But I think for me personally, I will be that sort of fan. I will not believe that Arsenal have won it until I see Arsenal lift it. We could go into 3 games left, we could have been confirmed champions, and I'll be going, no, we're still going to ruin it. That's just how I am, and I want to be able to sit there and be like, okay, I don't think it will ever fully hit me until I see Odegaard lifting that Premier League trophy. I'll be like, oh my God, we've actually won it now. I don't have to panic, I don't have to worry. But I think a lot of fans, that was sort of me speaking for myself, but I know a lot of match-going fans will, they'll never fully try and show their nervousness, especially away fans. I thought, at Leeds there was a little sense of nervousness, but then from that moment onward, the away end was singing constantly, and just, wanted to push the team to get it over the line, because together we probably can do.
Charlie, you've got Caicedo back, but is he more influential than Enzo Fernandez right now, or is Fernandez now your most influential player?
Yeah, I mean, look, Caicedo back's a big plus. Hopefully he can stay on the pitch for the full 90 this time. We are going to need that. But in terms of Enzo Fernandez, there was a stat on Monday Night Football last night about him ranking top in Premier League midfielders for a number of stats. There it is there. In the top 2 for a number of key stats. And he's someone that's taken a lot of criticism since he joined the club. But right now, last season he had a very good season for us, and he's playing the best football of his career. And you just look at those numbers there that he's producing from midfield, and you would have to say that whilst obviously Caicedo, is a major part of our midfield, if you take that out, that Enzo Fernandez is producing, we're losing a lot from the team as well. So look, overall, Caicedo is probably more influential, but right now, with the form that Enzo Fernandez is in, he is probably arguably our most important player at this point in time.
Can I just say as well, Tom, when I went to the game the other week against Brentford, the fans love Enzo Fernandez, and I think he's one of those players, if you took him out your team, Charlie, you would notice he wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? And when you watch him live, I think you have more of an appreciation for what he brings to your team.
Yeah, 100%. And, he's someone that, all the big moments recently, he's someone that is always involved in them. I don't know what it is about Chelsea number 8s and arriving in the box and scoring goals. But we've got a good history of that. I'm not comparing him to Frank Lampard, but he has got that.
You just did.
No. But in terms of he's scoring goals from midfield. But that's really important, because Caicedo, for as good as he is, doesn't really score goals. Santos is not a goal scorer from midfield. Lavio, when he plays, isn't. So Enzo Fernandez bringing those goals from midfield is absolutely vital, particularly when a lot of the attacking players aren't contributing as much at the moment.
Would you have Caicedo or Rice?
I'd rather have Caicedo. Ideally, I'd have both of them. Could have had both of them, but I like both of them. Obviously, I'm going to say Caicedo, but Declan Rice is a phenomenal footballer. If you looked at all-round game in terms of everything, Rice is probably, I'd say, a bit more of a complete player. He's got a bit more going forwards in his locker. But if you're talking the defensive side of the game, I think Caicedo is better.
Carabao Cup semi-finals, they wrap up this week with a second leg. First up is a match between Arsenal and Chelsea. Arsenal is up 3-2 going into Tuesday's match. Coverage starts at 2 p.m. Eastern ahead of kickoff at 3 p.m. Eastern, and you can catch all the coverage on Paramount Plus. So let's speak a little bit about the form of both of these teams coming into this match, both of them with wins over the weekend. But Stefano, speaking about Viktor Gyökeres, actually, Tony, let me come to you first, because Tony came into the meeting this morning. He goes, is it true that Viktor Gyökeres has only scored 11 goals this season? And that was something that surprised you, Tony.
Yeah, because I feel like, and it's probably the other things that Mikel Arteta keeps talking about that Viktor Gyökeres does for that side. I feel like he had more goals, but certainly I know it's probably whatever, like most strikers, whatever number of goals you have, you always want a little bit more, right? You're always looking for more. Took him a little bit to settle in, I think, to the group. But I still think, and we're always going to judge number 9s by the numbers, right? But I still think there's been so many other things that he's done for the side. I go to the Atletico Madrid game, right? Against Atleti, he scores 2 goals in that Champions League game, but he also has an assist in that game. His hold-up play was really, really good. And I think that's what Mikel Arteta was talking about for weeks. But as I mentioned, in the end, when we look at somebody's career, we look at the end of the season, goal scorers will always be judged by the numbers, because that's just what world football tells you is the barometer of whether you're good or you're not good, or you fit into a team or not.
Don't you find it pretty incredible, though, that this Arsenal team doesn't have one superstar that's carrying the load? It's like everybody. It's pretty incredible that they're able to be this good. And it's like sharing the spoils, everybody on the team. Yeah, there's no talisman. I would say that they're the player that dominates a game for them is on the back line in Gabriel, because there is no talisman in this team, and you see it by just the stats where the top scorer has 6 goals in Viktor Gyökeres in the Premier League. Right. Even like Bukayo Saka, right? I think we were talking about Arsenal being potential favorites at the beginning of the season. We said, oh, it's going to have to be a crazy season from Bukayo Saka, best player in the league. And he really hasn't been, but Arsenal have been so good. Bukayo Saka has 4 goals in the Premier League. That's unbelievable. And it's what it is. It's Gyökeres with 6. This is all Premier League. Trossard with 5. Declan Rice with 4. Eze with 4. Zubimendi with 4. It's all. And those 4 goals from Eze have come. 3 of them have come in one game. In one game, exactly. Yeah, it is interesting. It's definitely a team built a lot differently than any of the past Premier League champions over the last decade.
Should we switch to talking a little bit about Chelsea then, real quick, before we get into the big Carabao Cup match between these two teams? Chelsea, they came back. Incredible match for them, Nico, to come back in this one. Unbeaten now in their last 5. How are you feeling about this Chelsea side right now?
Yeah, the only game that they lost was against Arsenal, the first leg of this fixture. There's belief in Liam Rossini, at least from the players, right? And they got that late goal, which made it 3-2. And if there's ever a moment to play Arsenal, there has been a lot of talk about Arsenal wobbling. And every time Arsenal wobbles, like against Manchester United, it feels like there's this pile on. And then, all right, how are they going to react next? And they reacted really well against Leeds. So Chelsea's going to feel like this is an opportunity. It's like, all right, Manchester United did it at their place. We can do it too. It's going to take a lot, because no one wants to be eliminated at this point. You get me? Narratives can start taking shape once you're eliminated from a tournament, although it's a lower tier tournament in the priority list of these teams. Liam Rossini is going to have face his first elimination, or Arsenal goes out to Liam Rossini's side, So there's more on the line than we might think from the outset, just looking, Carabao Cup semifinals, right? Without a doubt. There's still a trophy on the line, right? And we had this discussion the other day. How do you prioritize? I don't know that you prioritize. You get to the game, you put your best players that you have available to you. It'll be important for them, for sure, to put something in the trophy. And I guess we'll talk to Viktor Gyökeres here in a little bit, and we'll ask him.
Managers used to get asked a lot years ago if they knew what their strongest 11 was, or their preferred 11. Do you think the days of having the preferred 11 or a strongest line have gone with all the rotation that's necessary?
I can't speak for other managers in terms of myself. I don't have a best 11. I never have done in all of the clubs that I've worked with. Why? Because the physical demands of the Premier League or Liga or the Championship now with 46 games, you need a squad and you need to use the players in the correct way to challenge over the course of the season. I can't speak for other managers if they have a best 11. Here at the moment, I've been in for 3.5 weeks. I'm just getting to know the players. I don't have a best 11 in my mind. I try and pick the right starting team, but I also try to pick a bench that will give us the right finishing team as well. And so far, I have to say the substitutes in every game that we've played have made a huge impact. It's not down to my tactical stuff. There's some part of that, but it's down to their mentality to come on and help the team.
Tom.
Liam, the result from the first leg from this Carabao Cup semi-final wasn't the same as against Napoli in midweek or today against West Ham, but there were similarities in the sense that in the second half Chelsea were much better in those games and substitutions contributed to that. Does that give you confidence in case things aren't necessarily going well in the second leg, that again Chelsea can kind of come through in the second half and finish well?
Yeah, players are showing me that. The players are showing me that they're engaged. The players who are so important and frustrated not to start games are all coming on and having an impact. The reality is Arsenal are favourites for the tie. They're a goal up and they're at home, so they'll expect to go through. We need to take it as far as we can and as deep as we can, and then the second half hopefully will be massive in terms of turning the tie around.
Can I also just check, and if you've already been asked this elsewhere, then I apologise, but is there a chance of Esteval being involved?
I don't know yet with Este. He's a young kid who's come and been magnificent. He's going through a really difficult time for personal reasons, and he's on compassionate leave. I won't put any pressure on him. It has to be right for him, and he has to feel like he's in the right place to perform for this team.
Dan.